Hey guys, and welcome to another 1.9.4 mod spotlight. Now, before we get started, just a little bit of news. This is probably going to be the last 1.9.4 mod spotlight because 1.10 has come out and everyone's going to 1.10, so that's news over. Today, we're going to be looking at a mod called Roots by Elucent. Roots is a magic mod centered around druidism and plants and stuff. And if that sounds to you a lot like Botania, then I'm going to slap that thought out of your head. Because if this is like Botania, then thermal expansion is like IC2 and blood magic is like Thorncraft. That's just silly. Okay, so to start with Roots, we need a runic tablet. Now this mod has created some world gen for us, so if we start breaking tall grass, we should eventually come across a certain something. There we go, an old root. Can't really do much with the old root right away, but if we come back over here, you'll find that I have the necessary recipe ingredients to make a runic tablet, just like that. Now this runic tablet is your manual to the Roots mod. If I right click with it, it opens the runic tablet with all these different categories and the major category down the bottom. So we have natural arts, spellcraft, and rituals. Okay, so let's get moving along. The first thing we want to learn, despite it opening to natural arts, the first thing we want to learn is spellcraft, which is this page. We want to create a mortar and pestle. So in here I have stone and diorite, and with that stone I will make a mortar, and with the diorite I will make a pestle. Well, I think I mirrored that. I've done something silly. There it is, pestle. Okay, so we have a mortar and a pestle. What do we do with the mortar and pestle? Well, before it's going to be any use to us, we're probably going to want an imbuer as well. And an imbuer is made with a chiseled stone brick, which is a vanilla recipe. Let me remind you, it's 2 stone brick slabs on top of each other. But we simply do this, and we get an imbuer. And with that imbuer, I'll put these away as well. And I don't need these. In here, what we do with the mortar and pestle is we start grinding up things to make spell components. So, in Spellcraft, we come to the Spellcraft tab, and we want to create components to create the spells. And that is about putting resources in this mortar, which you then grind up using the pestle, and that will create the spell component. So, let's make our first spell, shall we? Old Root, Blue Orchid, Prismarine Shard, Lapis Lazuli, and Vines. Yes, this is a harder to reach spell, but it's a good one for demonstrating just what this mod does. So with those components, you do need a root. Now, I will explain in a bit. There is a change to the components here, but if I right-click, I get a petal dust. This is the imbuer we made before. You right-click simply to place it on the ground, just like the mortar, and you put your spell component, which you just made, in there. I'll quickly take this out because it has some tooltip information. We made an Earthen Roots spell, which is, of course, this one. You have discovered that the blue orchid has a magical affinity towards earth and rock. By combining it with several other spell components, you gain the ability to wrench forth spikes of earth from the ground around you. Pretty awesome. So we put that there, and our next point on this is an imbuing staff, which is, of course, using the imbuer. You want to put it with a stick. My handy dandy stick in a chest, and it will make my staff for me. This staff contains 1 spell and will only ever contain 1 spell, and it has completely limited uses. There is a way to make one with more uses, but that's a little further into the mod. So this spell, hold right click like a bow, point where you want to create your spike of earth, and bam, we have a spike of earth. Now this mimics the terrain that you use it on. So if I go over here to some clay, oh, maybe the water was in the way. Sand, then it is. We have a spike of sand. Same for gravel and stone. And a neat feature of the earth spike, you may be thinking that's not particularly useful. It is creating new sand and materials. It's not actually bringing it up out of the ground. But you can send things into the air. That wasn't very impressive just then, but you can make the spell more impressive. So, that is a spike of earth. Now, just for demonstration purposes, I've created a couple more. We have growth and devil's flower. So growth, it's bone meal, basically, except it doesn't always work. It has a chance to work. You can make it more likely to work, but that will require you to get into a little bit of spell components, which we're going to discuss in a second. But there we go, we got one to work. And devil's flower, I need a target for this one. I'm sorry, horse. But if you attack an enemy with it, sometimes you get a skeleton. Now I imagine because it's burning in the sun is why it's attacking me, but normally it will attack whatever you told it to attack. So you can usually get the skeleton to attack your enemy rather than you. There's a great many different spells though. We'll look at them once I've got another skeleton. There we go, that one's attacking the horse, and now it's got its eye on me again. Oh well. Try not to use the devil's flower in the sun, it appears. Get out here, you. Come on. Off you go. Right. So, other spells you have access to. You have Insanity. This one turns hostile mobs onto other hostile mobs, aka it makes them attack everything, including you though. Allium's Ruin. So this one is just a basic damage spell, but it also damages the durability of their equipment, so it is actually kind of useful in a PvP scenario. Then we have Shatter. Shatter allows you to destroy blocks that you target with it, so that's pretty cool. Devil's Flower, Shielding, creates a force field. Blistering Cold is a slowness and damage. Vampiric Burst heals you and damages them. Acceleration is kind of like, I guess the way you would describe acceleration is kind of like a Torturino torch, if you've ever used that. Or any other item from another mod that speeds up the tick rate of an item that it's placed near or used on. So that's what acceleration does. Dandelion Winds. This one is like a force push. Solar Smite. This one does damage to the enemy, except it is extra good against undead enemies. This one ignites undead enemies and does extra damage to them. Growth, I showed you. Rose's Thorns. I can't even remember what that one does. It's a better damage spell. Component Healing, obviously it heals you. Nature's Cure, it's like drinking milk. Water Blast, this one is interesting. It puts non-renewable water on the ground, like the kind that comes from a source block. Good for putting out fires, but it's, again, it doesn't come from a source block. Lightning Strike, ignite things, teleport, and then you get into the crazy ones, which we need to take a look at. So time set, I think 8,000 is about midday. Yep. So this is a special flower, and to make this special flower we need several things. You make this mutating powder using a nether star. Very expensive to make this, by the way, but the spells that come from these things are crazy good. So 4 growth powder, which is seeds, grass, and redstone in a pestle. Obviously it doesn't use the pestle up, so 4 of those, a nether star and a nether wart gets you mutating powder. Using an oxide daisy, at midday, throw glowstone, prismarine crystals, and drink a night vision potion, and then use mutating powder. Oh, come on. I don't think I was close enough. And then use mutating powder, or it's not midday anymore. Wait. Get over there. Yes, I don't think it's midday anymore. No. Come back here, son. Or I'm too far. Yeah, there we go. 6,000, not 8,000. That's fine. This is why we have JEI. Mutating powder. We get the special flower, and I'm blind for a minute. But it's all worth it, because this spell lets you make, and I'm not going to show you it because I obviously want to leave some things up to the imagination, lets you create the radiance spell, which, as it says here, it will create a spell that will allow you to charge up and fire rays of light. These rays will significantly damage targets and will pierce through most armor. It's a very powerful damage spell. It's kind of like the sniper rifle of this mod. Let's put some of this stuff back, because we need to talk about spell components. I showed you that we could put a root and several items into that, because in spell components we have the blue orchid, prismarine, blue lapis, and vines, but that's not all. You require a base spell component, which are the old root, the verdant sprig, the infernal stem, and the dragon's eye. And you could see old root, verdant sprig, infernal bulb, and dragon's eye. You get the old root from breaking grass that's around you. This has no modifiers, and I'll get into what modifiers are in a sec. This has no modifiers, so it makes the most basic version of the spell that's possible. And a lot of the time, that spell is actually kind of useless. Then you have verdant sprigs. You get verdant sprigs by tearing up fully grown crops. So when you harvest wheat or potatoes or beetroot or what have you, there's a chance you'll get a verdant sprig. So that's where you get verdant sprigs from. You get 1 modifier. Then you get infernal bulbs. You get these much like you get verdant sprigs, but you get them from harvesting netherwort. They give you +2 modifiers. And finally, from harvesting chorus plants from the end, you can get dragon's eye. And dragon's eye gets you +3 modifiers. So, 3 modifiers, 3 components, but you don't have to use the 3 exclusively. Redstone. You may have noticed that I have been using hunger as I've cast these spells. Let's play with growth a bit more and see if we can't get it to do it some more. There we go. It uses a lot of hunger. Put it that way. Hunger is mana. Not only do the stars have uses, they use your hunger to cast the magic. Excuse me, Minecraft. So, what redstone does, similarly to putting a root in there, then the spell components, depending on what one of these you put in, you can then put in additional components. Additionals being these 3. So, if I put in a verdant sprig, I can put 1 of these in. If I put an infernal bulb, I can put 2 of these in. And if I put in a dragon's eye, I can put 3 of these in. So what redstone does is for each piece of redstone, you get +1 level of efficiency. Efficiency reduces the amount of hunger taken when you cast a spell. Glowstone dust increases potency. So For example, on a healing spell, that increases the amount it heals you by. And then on gunpowder, that increases the radius that the spell affects. So that is, for example, on the earthen spikes, that would make a bigger radius where the spike is lifted up out of the ground. Now, you don't have to have 1 redstone, 1 glowstone, and 1 gunpowder. You can have 3 you can have 3 redstone, 3 glowstone, 3 gunpowder, 2 redstone, 1 gunpowder, 1 glowstone. You get the idea. Any mix, just as long as it's 3 modifiers and you put in 3 of these, but no more and no less. So I don't have one to show you, but take my word for it, that's how it works. So you can upgrade spells using that, but for example, why don't we actually make our super awesome sniper spell? We'll use a dragon's eye. And what else will we use? We need 2 glowstone and a redstone. So of course we'll just cheat those in. So that's our basic components, and then we need to add our other components. So let's put in glowstone. Let's just put in 3 glowstone. Okay, and then if we get a mortar and pestle, what do I do with you, pestle? And we crush it up. We get our petal dust. We also need the sun back. And then we need a stick. And we will have an extremely powerful radiance spell. So this is a +3 potency radiance spell. If I use this thing, you can see after the cloud is dissipated, you can see the white beam that it produces. Pretty cool, huh? And to give you an idea of how much damage it does, let's spawn a zombie. They have fairly high health. That is a zombie head, me. And yes, he's going to burn in the sun, but we can one-hit a zombie with this thing. Which is fair enough, actually, because this is an extremely hard thing to get. For a start, you need a nether star, at the very least. Right. So that is spell creation done. This mod is still quite small at the moment too, considering, but you've got a lot there to play with. But now we move on to altar and ritual mechanics. So, first of all, an altar requires a brazier, or multiple braziers mostly, and an altar. And at the very first level of altar, you need an altar and some braziers like I've got here. With that, we can make our altar like so. Poppy, 2 verdant, gold block, 2 stone, and a chiseled stone. We've got a casting altar, and braziers are cauldron, so that's 7, plus another 6 iron, plus a string, and we get an incense brazier. So, this is a big deal. The tier 0 altar can't really be used for much right now, but it is important to note that it is a very important stage, because what you can do with it is very useful in the mod. We have wooden pickaxe, a verdant sprig, and a gold ingot. This wooden pickaxe in this recipe can be swapped out for any wooden tool. But how do you get oak bark? Well, you need to create a knife, a very special knife. And it's made with a stick, a plank of any kind, and 5 saplings of any kind, and you get the bark knife. Simply go up to a tree, right click the bark, and you get bark from it. It isn't infinite, however. If I keep clicking, eventually I'm going to get unlucky and the log will break. It can break straight away like it did just then, or it can take a long time like it did with the first piece. But either way, we now have 17 oak, bark that we do not need because I've got it over here. You need flint and steel, and you need the base components. We are making a living tool. The living tool requires your base components on the altar, and then it requires the incense objects to be burning in the incense, and this is what the flint is for. Notice I put one bark in there and one in there, light both those incenses, and shift right click the altar with the components, and it begins the infusion. And everything is dancing. And eventually I will get a living pickaxe. Where'd you go, living pickaxe? Alright, well, it's always worth things happening like this on a mod spotlight, isn't it? But I would normally, it worked before, you'd normally get a living pickaxe. This living pickaxe is slightly better than iron. Why don't we just let the book do the talking, huh? Living tools. Your rituals are capable of channeling life energy so much so that you can have managed to give life back to your wooden tools. Adding a verdant sprig allows the tool to slowly grow back at any damage it takes. And adding a little more gold for reinforcement brings the tool quality up to about the same as iron. So you have a self-repairing iron tool. Pretty awesome. So we'll put some damage there, and then we'll just leave it in our inventory for now. It's very strange that it didn't come from the altar. I'm gonna have to report that. This mod, by the way, is early alpha. So I am showing it to you early. So don't mind any bugs that are happening. Next, we have standing stones, because we're going to bring this altar up to tier 1 in this format. So a standing stone is made using lapis, 4 chiseled, and 4 normal. Lapis in the middle, chiseled, stone, mundane standing stone. Make 8 of those and arrange them in this pattern with a space of 2 on all the axes, and you will have the formation. Of course, you probably got your braziers from before, so you don't need to make any more of those. But I'm only going to show you one ritual from this, because again, I want you guys to have the opportunity to be able to play with things yourself. Lily pad in the middle, vines and old root either side. I'm going to toggle downfall to make it, no I'm not, it's the wrong one. We're going to light the braziers, and then we're going to start the ritual, and any second now, do your thing. It is now raining. There is an opposite to this, but as I said, I'm going to let you guys explore what that is. So you can start and stop the rain. There is other awesome rituals you can do with the tier 1, but we're going to move straight ahead to the tier 2. The tier 2 has an addition of 4 new standing stones, which are made with 4 nether brick, 1 diamond and 4 stone. Diamond in the middle, 4 nether brick, stone, attuned standing stone. You need 4 of those. So, not too terrible. Let's toggle that downfall this time, so that we can have some nice weather. And again, I'm only going to show you one ritual from this set. I'm going to take a diamond, a leather cap, a vine, some birch, poppy, and a golden apple. Let's put these down here. Bam, bam, bam. Put some birch, poppy, and golden apple into the incense burners. Light them up. And start the ritual. And soon, very soon, we shall have something not spawning again. Oh my god. Just when you try and do the mod spotlight, huh? Well, that was meant to make a sylvan hood. The sylvan hood is one of the components of these armors, which you've probably seen out of the corner of the camera every so often. These armors are extremely cool looking. This is the Sylvan one. This makes spellcasting better and easier. I'm not entirely sure how, because the description for them simply says enhance your spellcasting ability. So I don't know whether that adds potency, area of effect, or efficiency, or it's some other way that enhances your spells. But there you go. And then you have the Wildwood armor, which is a combat-orientated armor out of wood. Using iron armor and some wood on an altar, you have created armor that is slightly better than iron. It will also improve your toughness and increase your regeneration speed. So it doesn't increase your spellcasting, but makes you a bit of a bulwark. So, why don't we put some of this on, huh? Let's put that on. And now I look very scary indeed. So, I'm going to leave the rest of the mod for you to explore, because it is an incredibly cool up-and-coming magic mod for 1.9 and beyond, and I can't wait to see where the mod author takes it. As I said, it's all of this, and it's reasonably stable despite having 2 rituals go wrong on camera. I can promise it hadn't gone wrong ever off camera. But despite that, the alpha is looking extremely good, and I cannot wait to see what the author, Elucent, comes up with next. So, thank you all for watching this mod spotlight on Roots, and I will see you all later. Bye-bye.